I am Officer Stephen Contreras with the Mesquite Police Department. I am the community policing officer for the city of Mesquite. I've been an officer now for going on 11 years. 11 years, yeah. I grew up here in the city. So when you see it says MPD hostage negotiator, I got a little quick funny story for you. One night, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I got a call on my phone and they said, hey, they're requesting you to go out to the bridge to speak to someone who wants to jump. And so they specifically requested for me. My first thought was, how do they know that I'm a hostage negotiator? You know, that's kind of weird. So I put on all my gear, head over there to the bridge, and as I'm walking up, it was my next door neighbor from when I was a kid growing up. Yeah, so it has its perks living in the city. Because, you know, the good thing is that we still talk to each other. You know, we still keep in communication. He lets me know how he's doing. So like I said, I grew up here, have a long history with the city and the police department. So that's just a little bit about myself. All right, what we're here for is, this is a lot of information that you're going to listen to in the next couple of minutes, crammed into 55 minutes. So a lot of these are pretty much, you know, they have their own little presentation. For example, I taught situational awareness to TxDOT, and that's all we talked about. So you guys are going to get a lot of information in a short amount of time. So brace yourselves. All right. So some of the topics that we're going to discuss is crime prevention through environmental design, or CPTED, lock, take, and hide program, workplace violence, situational awareness, and suspect and vehicle identification, and police programs that we offer in the city of Mesquite. Now, I want you guys, if you have a question or anything like that, do not hold it to the end. Blurt it out loud, raise your hand, I'll call on you. Due to the time constraint, I want you guys to get all your questions that you might have, or my cards are on the table, so please feel free to take one, and you can email me or call me at a later date. I wanted to give you some stats that the chief presented at a budget retreat, just so you guys can, I think, the business community needs to know this. The reason being is that one of the folks from the chamber called me and said, hey, one of the businesses is having trouble getting people because they're saying that their crime is horrible in Mesquite and this, that, and the other. And so I got all this information and I sent it to her. I was like, on the contrary, the crime is everywhere. There's not a little isolated island somewhere where there's no crime. It's everywhere. It's here, it's in McKinney, it's in Highland Park, it's everywhere. And so I sent some of this information. I figured it'd be pretty interesting to you guys as well. Total adult arrests is 1,124. And out of those arrests, only 38% were Mesquite residents. The rest were non-Mesquite residents. So it's imported crime. So it's coming in from other places. Okay. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Burglaries from within the city. They've gone down, and they're steadily going down from 2011 all the way to 2016. They're going down. I think it has a lot to do with educating the public. We have crime watch meetings. We have several things going on that, crime is of opportunity, and it's our job as citizens and business owners and police officers to eliminate that opportunity for crime to occur. So let's talk a little bit about crime prevention through environmental design, or CPTED. All right, and so this concept we use for residences and businesses. You're only going to see the business side of this. Now, I do have a disclaimer really quickly. If your business is on there, I'm not trying to talk negatively or anything like that. I'm just showing you guys examples. But don't worry, everybody's so far has been doing a great job. All right, so crime prevention through environmental design, we focus on 3 lines of defense: your perimeter, your exterior, and your interior. Perimeter is the area surrounding your property, for example, a fenced-in area. The exterior is the structure outside, for example, doors and windows and things of that nature. And then your interior is the actual inside of your business. For example, this business that I'm not going to name here, we're talking about perimeter security, which consists of fencing, landscaping, lighting, and signage. All right, it may look bad there, but they actually, once I went and did the survey, they actually took my advice and cleaned it all up. So it looks great now. But that's just one example I wanted to give you folks. The proper fencing can deter criminals and prevent them from targeting your business for future burglary. For example, this knockdown fence there, if that location gets a lot of foot traffic, they can easily go in and out of that fenced-in area, and it's not doing its job. Landscaping, you might not think, my business doesn't really have much landscaping, but this one did, and I'm just showing you an example of the shrubbery that's all grown around it. It gives it potential for an attacker or burglar to hide behind, and as you're leaving your business, they can, jump out or hurt you, or they can hide back there if they're trying to commit a crime. So you might think of these things as very minuscule at the most part, but landscaping has a big impact. Same for lighting and signage. Again, like I said, if your business is a I don't want to call out any business in particular, but If you think about the lighting has a big impact, especially if you look down there at the very bottom. That is a well-lit establishment, and they're not even open 24 hours a day. I, as a citizen, would prefer to go to a location like that than a 24-hour location that looks like the top right-hand corner. So lighting has a huge impact, especially in your hotels and your different locations that are open 24 hours a day. Signage, warning signs are also permanent deterrents. Warning signs can alert would-be thieves or burglars that there's an alarm or there's cameras, or you notice that some people put on their businesses, hey, you're being videotaped, or smile, you're on camera. So signage can play a role. Exterior security, we look at doors, windows, locks, and cameras. Now, all these pictures are from businesses here in Mesquite. My partner here was opening this door. You should have been able to key fob in. It was a magnetic strip. Well, it was broken, so he just pulled the door open. So that's something we brought to their attention. Doors and lock system consists of door frames, supporting walls, the door itself, hinges, locking mechanisms, and the strike plate. We want to make sure that all those are. The funny thing is speaking from experience out there on the streets, I bet the majority of our alarm calls are false alarms. It's people not correctly closing the door, or the wind kind of props it open. They're all false alarms. So having your door properly shut and the magnetic strip replaced and doing all those things possible to keep that door functioning properly can save you heartache in the long run. A lot of businesses now have the glass plate in the front. It's more of curb appealing. People can see coming in and out of that location. When we do a security survey, I'll go more into this in a little bit, but we give recommendations. This is pretty much a recommendation of how we would like someone to, cover a glass door. And so we'll go more into that. Interior security consists of alarms, interior cameras, and safes. What good is a safe if it's not bolted down inside your business? Somebody can grab a truck and wrap a chain around it and yank it out of there while doing tons of damage. Or what good is a security system if it's way up on the top shelf, and you can't really access it? So all those things, especially, let's say you do have cameras, and now with technology the way it is, cameras are everywhere and we can get people's faces. But if you don't have a good camera and you can get a little fuzzy image off someone, is it really doing its justice? So all those things you need to consider in interior and exterior security. Now we're going to go into security surveys, what we do here at the police department. That's a free service for the business. And so here are example of a few. Carl's Jr., PepsiCo, and Southwest Kia. Now, this service is free to the company. We do not charge or anything, but we do ask that you give us a little time to complete the survey because it's very thorough. I'm not going to give out any of the information in those surveys because it's extensive information. This is just kind of what it looks like, and I'll kind of explain it from here. I'm not going to give out their safe information or where they keep their money or anything like that. That's just an example of what it looks like. We have the location there listed, who requested the survey. Let's say Mr. Love requested a survey for the mall. We would list his name. We would kind of start talking about the actual building itself. For example, like Pepsi, we talked about how many square footage it is, location, how many acres it takes up, entries and exits, how many lights are around the building. It is a very detailed survey that we give. It's just not a check. Oh, this, the door looks okay. This is fine. We go into detail and we give maximum and minimum recommendations for for example, the fence that was down. A recommendation would be to obviously fix the fence. So things like that. And we base it on. We don't want people to have to spend a ton of money to make these repairs. But we want to give them suggestions that would help prevent crime. Lock, take, and hide program that we have here in the city, it's really great as far as, for example, I knew this was going to happen, this meeting, so I went to the Holiday Inn. I was like, you know what? I went by there, the Holiday Inn on Rodeo Center, and their signs were pretty dilapidated and old, and so I just went by, took several, and I made contact with the manager, said, hey, you mind putting these out there? And she said, absolutely, we'll do it right away. I gave her the signs, and the next day they were up. The last call we had was on August 13th was a burglary, and so I went the 14th and put the signs out, and so the manager got a hold of me the next day after that, and she said, hey, is there any way we could get a scarecrow car out there? I said, you know what, that's perfectly fine. We started putting the signs out, we got their scarecrow car out, put a report in for officers to travel through there more, just drive by, and as of today, there have been no calls for service. So, signage and working hand in hand with the police department can produce some great results, and they were having a burglary almost every day. You got to think that just working hand in hand with the police department can deter crime that much. So here are a couple businesses that participate. This wonderful business right here on the right has tons of signs, and it's great. So they like I said, lock taking signs, hide signs are everywhere. We even have them at our new fitness connection that just came up. Went over there and took some there. They took a lot of our recommendations as far as signage and jersey barriers and things of that nature. For example, I don't know if you've been by Fitness Connection, but they have these little round little spheres out there. Those are jersey barriers. People can't just drive their vehicle in there, and it's easy on the eyes. It's not a giant concrete pillar. It's those little spheres. So if you would like a survey, my card is on the table. Like I said, please feel free to email me, and I will send you information. We'll go out there and conduct a survey at your business. Moving on now to a little bit of information on workplace violence. We categorize it in 3 different types. Type 1 is more of robbery. For example, somebody goes in a gas station, points a gun at someone, and says, "Hey, give me your money." That's type 1 workplace violence. Type 2 workplace violence deals more with, for example, as a public servant or a nurse in a hospital, and we're dealing with someone who's belligerent. That's type 2 workplace violence. And type 3 is an employee, somebody who works there or some type of relationship that happens at the business that turns violent. So right here, kind of some usual victims: convenience and liquor store employees, taxi cab drivers, restaurant, grocery store employees, and hotel motel clerks are type 1. Type 2 are police and public safety professionals, medical care providers, social workers, attorneys, and judges. And then obviously type 3 is someone that works there at the location that has either been fired or disgruntled, is not happy. And the funny thing is, well, it's not funny at all, but we've been hired on certain occasions to be security at certain businesses here in Mesquite for that type of behavior. So it is a very real thing. Violent incidents in the workplace ordinarily follow some type of trigger, whether they've been fired or they've been disciplined for something and they are not happy. They don't like what's been going on. They have a promotion. They've been waiting on it, or somebody else got the supervisor position before they got the supervisor position, and that is the trigger for that type of behavior. Here are some things to look for, especially as a manager or business owner. They seem to be treated unfairly, being forced to wait for something, a promotion or a raise. They show signs of mental instability. They begin to isolate themselves or thoughts of being a loner, and they've recently been disciplined for something. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind for employees. Here's steps that you can do as an owner or manager, or you can delegate to your manager to take those steps once you have identified someone who's been triggered. Sit down and talk to the employee. Say things like, "Hey, how's your job going? Is there anything that I can do to help make your job better?" Ask other employees how they're doing as well. See if other people are feeling the exact same way. If you're not the person's manager, ask their manager for suggestions. Don't try to counsel the employee. It's not your job. Refer the employee to the proper person that can handle the situation, human resources and such. Make sure that you report the person to the proper people. You may not be sure the person may become violent, but better safe than sorry. So always contact you can even contact the police department in certain cases.
Do you recommend that they have someone with them when they stick them to
I would definitely recommend. Maybe if you're the owner, have the manager there with them. But if let's say they're having an issue with the manager, you wouldn't want to bring that individual in there with them. So always be cognizant of that. Like I said, a lot of this information, I'm just condensing it down due to time. I know you guys are busy people and you have things to do, and I don't want to keep you here forever. So I'm just giving you the Cliff Notes version. If you would like me to come out to your location and kind of give I've done one for, like I said, TxDOT and Starplex Cinemas, so I'd be happy to come out and give a more in-depth presentation. Let's talk a little bit about situational awareness, the ability to identify, process, and comprehend information, and how to survive an emergency situation. This could be something as you never expect, like a flood, or anything of that nature. It's dynamic, hard to maintain, and easy to lose. Here's kind of where we might be at one point in time, and this changes from person to person. Tuned out, unaware of their surroundings. That's people walking down the street playing on their cell phone. They're not focusing on what's going on around them, or people in their car doing that. They're tuned out. I like to think of myself as a police officer. Let's say I'm not on duty, but I'm at the state fair with my kids. I am in a relaxed awareness. I'm paying attention, but enjoying life. And that's where we should all be at some point in time, in our lives, is just a relaxed awareness of what's going on. When I'm in uniform and I'm hitting the streets, I'm in focused awareness, carefully observing a potential danger. That's where I'm at when I'm in uniform. And then high alert. That's when I'm running code 3 to an officer emergency, confirmed threat, we need to take action. And unfortunately, this happens a lot as we go into the black or comatose. It's where there's a shock that's so unbelievable that you don't know if you should fight or flight. And that's where you never want to be in that situation is in the black. That's as far as police officers, that's kind of where we gauge our situational awareness using those definitions and those colors. So here's 10 ways to improve your situational awareness. Just simple things that you could do every single day can help you out. For example, you learn to predict events. What they tell us in the academy is to play the what if game. What if something happens and we're sitting here and somebody comes in the door? What if you get home and, something happens, so always play, or you're at your place of business, what if somebody comes in there and they're disgruntled or they want to hurt someone? What would you do? Play those what if games. Identify elements around you. Basic situational awareness also requires you to notice locations, conditions, and actions of elements around you. For example, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, but my partner and I, we drove down to Houston to deliver some supplies, and we didn't even bring our rain gear. So we went down there in uniforms and no rain gear, and it was pouring down rain. So identify elements around you, even things as the rain. Trust your feelings. You get that little hair that sticks up in the back of your neck or that gut feeling. Go with that. You're usually right. Limit situational overload. Overload causes distractions, increased errors, and high stress. Prioritize and delegate your tasks, especially if you as a business owner don't get caught up with doing so many things at one time. Delegate something to your assistant or your secretary or whoever that might be. Help them with your other things that you have going on. Don't try to take it all on at once. Avoid being complacent, especially in your workplace. Continue to challenge yourself and those around you to be prepared for contingencies. Do a mental check every now and then. So like I said, don't get complacent. Don't wake up, I don't put my uniform on and just sit at my desk and do things. I go out there and I try to see what I can do to make the city a better place. Be aware of time. The place of your environment constantly changing. For example, if you have to be at a meeting, you make sure you plan accordingly to that. Or if you have multiple things going on in your day, make sure you plan for that. Began to evaluate and understand your situations. Like I said, situations change. We hopped in the truck and went down to Houston, didn't even think about our rain gear. So the weather's perfectly fine here. It's definitely not the same over there. So understand your situation, evaluate it. Actively prevent fatigue. This is an issue that happens to some of us as police officers, as we're going and say, hey, there's active overtime from 10 o'clock and even until 6 in the morning. Can you work it? Sure, why not? So prevent. Get plenty of rest. Continually assess your situation of what's going on. This can take place in the workplace or even if you're out camping. Assess the situation if you get lost. Take time to stop and look around. Monitor the performance of others. Be alert, changes the performance of those, and maybe something's going on in their life. What we do at the police department, like I say, we get our mind right. When we're sitting at the squad room and we're listening to our sergeant talk about what's going on in the city, we take that time to focus on ourselves and get ready for what we have to do the next 10 hours. And we get our mind right. We don't leave those things at home. If there's something bothering me, man, I didn't like the way Game of Thrones ended, so I'm not focusing on that as I'm getting ready for work, getting my mind right. Suspect and vehicle identification. A lot of times citizens call the police department and we ask them questions and they get frustrated. Why are you asking me so many questions? This is going on right now. I need you here right now. And so they're just simple things that you can do in your everyday life. You call the police department and they're asking you these questions. This, that, and the other. For example, I don't know if you've ever been inside a Whataburger lately, but as you're leaving, they have a little chart there, a little ruler there, that goes to height. That's a great example. Is let's say somebody's in there and they hurt someone or assault somebody and they're leaving. That gives the cashier a gauge. All right, this person is 6 foot tall. Or think about Walmart, for example. They have a door greeter at the door. They actively see people coming in and out, so they can say, yes, the person that ran out with a TV was wearing a purple shirt and had green hair, things of that nature. This is kind of what we tell citizens to go off of as far as height, weight, hair, eye color, glasses, tattoos, scars, marks, complexion, If they were any kind of clothing, hair, hat, coats, shirts, pants they had on, shoes, weapons. When they're in a high stress situation, they might not remember everything, but sometimes when you interview folks, it said he had a stainless steel revolver. I don't know why, but that's what stuck out to me. And so, you kind of get tunnel vision and you focus on those things. And so that's how a lot of citizens sometimes when they are going into the black or they're focusing on tunnel vision, they'll see those minor details like, he had white shoes on and he had a hoodie on that looked like, had a design on it. Vehicle descriptions, that's the biggest thing is when people call in, please get that license plate. The license plate will help us every time. We have a Citizens Police Academy. They have a vehicle that drives around the whole city of Mesquite and takes license plates. So thanks to them for doing it for so many years, we now have a huge catalog of cars in our system. So I can guarantee you, if you're only able to get the first 3 or 4 of the license plate, the rest will be in that database. So please, license plates and colors and makes and models of that vehicle are very, very important. Here's some police programs that we have. Starting with the very top right is a serial number central. What my parents did when I was a kid is they took pictures of everything. We had all these little Polaroid pictures of all our stuff, right? And they put it in a shoebox and it was under the bed. Well, then when our house burned down, there went the Polaroids. So what we offer in the city of Mesquite is a serial number central. It's a database where citizens and business owners can go in. They can create a user and profile and put all their information in here. If you notice, we put their TVs and their wedding rings and things like that. We don't have access to that. That is all for the citizen. They create their own login. They input all that information, and we don't have access to that. It's just on our secure server here at the police department. So that is a free service that is offered to them. What's that?
Your insurance will send you that.
Mm-hmm.
You handwrite it, and then send it back to the insurance. They'll put it in and send it to you guys.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Good. That's perfect. Nextdoor.com, we encourage a lot of our citizens. I think now we're close to 12,000 residents in the city of Mesquite who are on Nextdoor.com. And so it's a good way for you to communicate with the people shopping at your stores and going to your businesses to get on Nextdoor.com and see what they're talking about. So I highly encourage that you as a business owner here in the city. Another thing we have here are the Scarecrow cars. Like I said, we put it at the Holiday Inn, and crime is reduced within those amount of weeks. And so I'm going to keep it there and keep being proactive and see how long we can keep that up. We also have what's called the exchange zone. When citizens buy things from each other, they need a place to exchange them. A lot of people go to Starbucks and grocery stores. Well, we have a place here in the city of Mesquite that we can do it right here at the front of the police department. It's monitored 24 hours a day. There's somebody at the front desk constantly watching. You have a view from there, and we have cameras there in that location. So that is the exchange zone where people can come 24 hours a day. For example, let's say you bought something from someone and they give you the money and you're like, is this real? You can go in there and verify it. Or if you bought an iPhone or something, and you can go in there and run that serial number and make sure that it's not stolen. So we offer that here at the city of Mesquite. The community video partnership, like I said, cameras are everywhere nowadays. And so what we ask is that businesses and residents in the city of Mesquite register their cameras with us. You can log on to the website. The website's right there. And you can put in your contact information, your name, last name, all your information, where the business is located, where those cameras are, where they're facing. And now here's the thing, we do not, the police department does not have direct access to these cameras. We can't just log on and say, let's see what the Hampton Inn's up to today. We can't do that. You have to give us consent. Let's say there was a crime that occurred down near Panera, right? And they had cameras that's facing the highway. Well, we would go to Panera, contact them and say, we noticed that we had an incident occur in that area. Your cameras are registered. Do you give us consent to go in there and look at the camera footage? And so they can say yes or no, and we go in there, pull the camera footage, see if we can find any type of suspect information, and hopefully lead to an arrest. So as a community video partnership that we have here in Mesquite. There's a map that shows every resident that's in there. So it's growing in popularity. There are more citizens that are registering their camera. Like I said, we do not have direct access. We cannot get in there and see what you folks are doing with your cameras or anything like that. Does anybody have any questions about the community video partnership or anything like that? No?
So on the video thing, the register, like if you have, cameras that shows how far we have.
Mm-hmm.
at least the detectives will know, hey, kidnapping, and so we know that these 3 houses have cameras, and then that's kind of what you're using it for.
Absolutely. Let me give you an example. We had some issues with people getting their tailgates stolen. So there was one particular area where they stole a tailgate, and we asked investigators to go out there and just start, knocking on people's doors and see if they had cameras and if we could see their footage. So start knocking on doors, looking at camera footage, and we developed a suspect vehicle. It was a purple Trailblazer. All right, we put the information out there to the officers working the streets, and they found a purple Trailblazer at a motel there on 80. Stopped in there, talked to him. He led us to a house in Dallas, which we go to the backyard, and there's like 25 tailgates stacked up back there. All right, get a search warrant for him. That leads us to a ledger. Inside that ledger, it's like a grocery list. It was a, gray Dodge Ram, looking for. He was just looking for certain types of makes and models to take those tailgates, and so that ledger led us to a guy in Waxahachie who was selling them. So we not just thanks to officers or investigators canvassing that area and developing that suspect information, we were able to get a bust from several cities away. So that's thanks to the community video partnership. So just something to think about. I know a lot of businesses have started registering their cameras as well. So any questions? Like I said, I don't want to take up too much time. I just want to give you guys kind of a Cliff Notes version of what you should be aware of. Yes, sir.
Have you seen any best practices or tips from other police agencies or tactics or plans that they use with businesses that businesses can give their customers some sort of reminder, either if they're at a restaurant or a retailer or a hotel, they're checking in or leaving the premises, some sort of keepsake or takeaway, that kind of a promotional item or a tchotchke or something like that reminds them, hey, take lock high, use your locking vehicles, leaving the business is sort of something that you've seen other agencies do that's been successful as a reminder to them to.
Not that I've seen lately. For example, Duncanville called me and asked if they could use the partnership, the community video partnership. So we talk to each other as far as agencies are concerned, but I haven't seen as far as a keepsake or anything that they give away. What we do here at the city is there's these little things you can stick on the window. And so I take these to restaurants from time to time and ask if they put them up there. And for the most part, every single business that I've ever dealt with in City of Mesquite is real open to suggestions. I think the biggest thing is keeping an open dialogue with your officer or your police department as far as what's going on in your area. The crime prevention unit is broken up from the north and south. There's my partner. He's in the south end. I'm in the north end. So my area is more business centric. I have the mall there and Restaurant Row. So I try to go by there and drop these off at Sports City and tell them, hey, make sure you tell people lock, take, and hide your belongings. And I think it's just as far as giveaways, I'm not really sure, but I think just having an open communication and dialogue with your business owner, that's probably the biggest benefit with your business and police department. Any other questions or anything like that? No? Like I said, you guys got the condensed version of everything because there's just so much. For example, we could take it for me to get my crime prevention specialist certification. I had to go to a 3-week-long class, and then I had to take a state test. So you guys just got the surface scratch on that one.
What seems to be whenever they're having break-ins in Mesquite, what do they seem to be stealing? To vehicles?
Well, that's the thing. It's a lot of it's just from opportunity. People just walking by, see, oh man, there's a gym bag in there. Your gym bag could have nothing but a bunch of pens in there, but it curiosity. So they'll take that risk and break that window, or they'll jiggle that door handle, for change, for a cell phone charger, or they just rummage through there. They look for garage door openers, so anything could. The majority is opportunity. That's what they're in there. They're looking for an opportunity. And if somebody leaves something there, that's an opportunity, So it's definitely our job to eliminate those. So, yes, sir.
I think you talk about locked doors. We've heard a lot from Chief and others meetings we've been in. amazing, like you said, that we hear about Mesquite, and in all communities. Okay? I don't want to pick on teenagers, but I mean, kids walk around at night, and they'll walk up and down the streets, and they'll just pull on door handles. There was a time there, I know we had a few months ago, where it wasn't just kids, they were actually going in, talking about cars, and taking, we buy our vehicle, we stuff everything in that envelope and put it in our glove box. You pull that out, it's got your name, your address, your social security number, your phone number, your driver's license, all this documentation, and people can see the identity.
Absolutely.
Just for reason, we don't even think about it. I remember I going home from that meeting, went in my glove box, found mine, took it out, took it in the car. But I don't have to think about it.
Exactly.
You know, and I wanted to mention that, I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all.
We hear a lot of talk about our crime, overall crime rate for speed has been going down for a number of years. A lot of people don't realize, what they don't understand is our MPD, you guys do a great job on crime prevention and all the things you do. And there's still areas that we continue to work hard in. We know, for example, malls and businesses and you know, even hotels and things. I mean, that's opportunity too. I think one of the things we still have challenges with is that more than anything else. You know, just the large retail areas that we have in the city. They come to Mesquite because they can find thousands and thousands of people and thousands of cars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's just building a good rapport with your businesses. Just like I haven't forgot, I still owe you some lock taking height signs, so don't worry, I'll get them to you. So I have not forgot it. You know, just going out there and communicating, and you guys talk to us. You know, give us a call. My card's there. I will be more than happy to go out and do a security survey. It doesn't matter if you're a tiny, small business or the Pepsi company. You know, we'll take care of all our businesses here in the city of Mesquite and provide them the opportunities to be a safer location. Any questions or anything? I don't want to accept that.
I have from the restaurant side of things, the partnership that we've had with the police department and the training that we've been able to give to the associates and that type of thing. You know, they're able to recognize when there's just a bad situation, it's not quite right. You know, we've got 3 counterfeiters now. There was some big counterfeiting house. Really busted that. Not only on our information, but other drive-throughs. So they'll go through a drive-through, pay with $100, for a $1.39 bagel, and and do that kind of thing. But if the kids aren't recognizing it, then they don't know. And these people are driving like trains and BMWs and stuff. So, we've been able to do that, and then really there's very little that gives them more pleasure than to bust people that are trying to steal. And that's we've caught 3 of those in the past 3 years.
That's what I was going to say. Props to you guys.
You just keep an eye out, and it's funny because we did this for the restaurant folks, and we didn't have very many people show up. And I think that businesses understand that know your neighbors, your business neighbors, other restaurants that need to get together, businesses need to get together because there's more sets of eyes out there. There's more sets of eyes. I've got, a drive-through, and the weirdest place to have a drive-through is in the back of the building. Well, it's great for us and our customers because that's where we had all the break-ins before we had the drive-through. Since we put in the drive-through, we've had no break-ins. So, it really is. It's very simple. And if you just partner up with those folks that are up and down your strip or whatever, people just keeping an eye out. Like you say, the awareness factor. If you're walking into the mall and you work there, keeping your eyes open for those people that are just kind of walking around and doing those types of things. So,
absolutely.
Because a lot of these things are they're opportunistic, but they'll go to those centers. They'll go to strip areas where there's a bunch of cars and they just drive around. And a lot of people don't know, but they'll pull the handles, but there's also the professional ones, like one we caught 3 years ago that had a scanner. And he actually knows what chip is in that car. And we can say, well, there's an Intel i7 in that car. I know there's a laptop. And they can actually pinpoint if it's in the trunk or, they know these things. So there's a lot of technology out there. This stuff is a lot of big money.
Absolutely.
Able to resell this stuff.
That's true.
You talk about the tailgates, next door we had a truck stolen because they got I guess they sell cars out of that, the Town East Tower. We just happened to have a camera that was on that. I don't know if they were able to catch them, but we were able to see the van that kept going around the parking lot. And they go, jumped out. So again, if you just talk to people, you know, and that guy just came over to me because he was a customer next door, and he says, "Hey, I know you guys got a camera. You know, I just had a brand new truck stolen. Could we take a look at it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Don't you want to get the police over here first?" I don't know what you're gonna do.
Yes,
You know?
please call us, and don't get on social media. Call us first, and then you can get on social media after
I think
you.
we do to partner together to make it safer, I think, is really the key.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, you know, you guys at Panera have you have the front covered and you have the rear covered, and especially Benji, she sees everything. So, you know,
She's
you can't.
24 too.
Well, she catches everything, so it's great. It's great.
And prosecuting, that's what makes me mad.
Yeah, absolutely.
They learn, they come back, they're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, definitely press charges. Absolutely. Any other questions or anything like that? Comments, concerns? Like I said, my card's over there. Please feel free.
Shout out to you when you at the table that breakfast morning, and you shared information with us, and we appreciate it. And you brought some information to my home so that I could take it. So you not only just go out to businesses, you come to businesses at people's homes and share information also. So I just wanted to give a shout out to you. The people that received it was very excited about
Well,
it.
good. Well, I mean, like I said, I care about this place. This is my hometown.
But you gave me a number. You did what you said you were going to do. So that's nice.
Well, good. Well, I still need to give them the sign, so don't quite yet say that. So, but I brought some. There's some lanyards. The traffic division wants us to not text and drive, so that's out there for you folks. And I do have lock, take, and hide signs. If you would like some for your location, get with me, and I will take some to your location. So. Sooner or later. Yes, sooner or later. But you know what? They're all up there, and they're nice and neat looking. So they look perfectly fine at the Hampton. But please feel free to take a pen or any of that information, or contact me, email me, and like I said, I like to have a great working relationship with our businesses. All right. If there's nothing else, you folks are ready to go.